What's up guys, this is Tetos coming at you with another beginner's guide for League of Legends. This time we're talking about masteries. What are they good for? How are they useful? Why should you use them? How much are they worth? And stuff like that. So stay tuned for my introduction. First off, as always, let's take a look at how or where you can set them up. Just click on your summoner profile again and then on masteries. And when you start off, you only have 2 pages set up or created and a plus here, which will look like this. So here you can add additional mastery pages for free. This doesn't cost anything. And at first, at level 1, you have 1 mastery point available. You get more points if you level up to 30. If you level 30 like me, you have 30 points which you can use. So let's start off by saying that you can also change these in Champion Select. You don't have to set these pages up as I'm doing here. You can basically just use 1 page and just change the points every time you play, but I'm not doing it because it's just not handy. You want to be prepared for certain matchups and for certain roles or certain champions you're playing, and basically these masteries are like talents in certain online games. So you want to think about your role as a champion, you want to think about what your strengths are, your weaknesses are, and you want to obviously improve the strengths and maybe lessen the weaknesses or decrease the weaknesses. I hope this makes sense. So first off, let's take a look at the very basics. How do you actually spend mastery points and how do you remove them? Spending them is easy. Just use left click. If you want to remove them, use right click. Additionally, you can use your mouse wheel. For example, mouse wheel up adds mastery point, mouse wheel down removes it again. So I personally like using mouse wheel because it's not as loud and also it's quite fast if you're used to it. But yeah, if you start using masteries, you might be confused, but there are so many guides out there which masteries are the best. But there are not many guides out there which are about the basics, which is why I'm doing this guide. So first off, let's start by saying that there are 3 mastery trees: the offense tree, the defense tree, and the utility tree. As I said before, which tree you're choosing or which trees you're choosing depends on the champion you play and the role you play, and also which champions you're facing. So if you are playing a tank, for example, somebody who is taking a lot of damage, who has a lot of defensive stats, and you want to skill or spec into the defense tree, you shouldn't take armor if the enemy team has a lot of magic damage. You should take magic resist if the enemy team has a lot of magic damage. Also, if you are a tank, you want to increase your defensive stats and not your offensive stats usually. This is how it goes. So always keep thinking and be careful about what your role is. So let's say you're new to League of Legends or haven't played any MMORPGs yet. You might be confused why you can't just skill anything you want or spend mastery points as you want. These are grayed out for a reason, because as you mouse over these masteries, you can see that, for example, this one requires 4 points in offense. For example, this one also requires 3 points in mental force, which is the mastery I just mouse overed. So this means that they have some requirements which you have to fulfill in order to spec the later masteries in the tree. For example, the ultimate masteries, if you want to call them that, they require 20 points in a tree. So even if you spend a lot of points and you spend the rest of them here, you can't choose this talent, obviously. Also, as I said before, you have to spend the points on the mastery above if you want to spec into one that is connected with a line or with an arrow, as you want to see it. So that's that. And also you don't want to just spend your points randomly into a tree like that. It just makes no sense. It's very poor. The outcome will be very, very suboptimal. It's not that good, and you're basically just wasting your potential. Before I show you a live demonstration on how to use the masteries or a mastery page in the game and what the masteries can actually be worth, I will talk about the trees. The offense tree, for example, is used if you're playing a carry, a marksman, an AP carry, which is some kind of mage or basically an offensive champion or an offensive role. For example, an assassin as well. If you play a role like this, you want to maximize your damage output because it's your job to kill the enemies. It's not your job to tank a lot of damage or to take a lot of damage. It's not your job to support the whole team usually. So you want to maximize your damage potential. If this is your role, then obviously you want to spend a lot of points in this tree. Usually you spend 21 points in this tree if you're an AD carry, if you're a marksman, an AP carry. But obviously if you're an AD carry, you don't want to, if you're using physical damage basically, you don't want to spec points into ability power because this just boosts your spell power and your magical prowess, so to say. The second tree is the defense tree, which is extremely useful to anybody, but usually people will spec into this tree or deep into this tree if they are playing tanks. For example, Renekton, Shen, Malphite, champions like that are tanks, and it's their job to be able to take a lot of damage so that their team can kill the opponents. So you might want to take talents like increased armor, reduced critical strikes, increased health regeneration, reduced damage taken from enemies, increased health, and stuff like that. These are talents which are suitable for tanks. The utility tree is useful for support champions. These are the champions that aren't necessarily dealing a lot of damage. They aren't necessarily taking a lot of damage. They are more or less used as utilities or utility champions which support the rest of the team. For example, they might want to heal your allies. So what do you do to heal your allies more or better? You get, for example, mana regen, cooldown reduction, passive gold income, for example, because you are not farming or getting the gold from last hits, which your carries get. So you need some gold income in a different way. So that's why there are some gold income talents here. Or for example, movement speed, which is useful to assist your ally more quickly or navigate around the map more swiftly. So that's that. These are the trees, but usually you don't just spec into one tree. For example, a support won't spec 30 points into utility, a tank usually won't spec 30 points into defense and stuff like that. So usually you get a mixture because you might want to take some points here in the defense tree, which are very useful for trading in lane, for fighting the enemies, and then the rest, for example, will be put into these masteries to improve your damage output. And yeah, for example, this would be a valid page for AD carries, for marksman, for people who deal physical damage from afar. So let's say we want to use this page, save the masteries, and now you can use it in your next battle. Additionally, as I said before, you don't have to use a lot of mastery pages because you can just add them, remove them, or change the mastery points as you go in Champion Select. So yeah, and also everything you do here is free. Obviously, it doesn't cost any influence points, riot points, anything like that. Adding pages, removing pages, it's all for free. So I'm using this page now for the upcoming gameplay. Let's call it 2190 for video. Save the page again, and I will show you in a second how you can choose these masteries in your Champion Select screen. Alright, now I'm in Champion Select, and if you're playing ranked games already, that's for matchmaking system, it's called solo queue as well, you can usually see your opponent. So you can also change your masteries as you go. Also, you might just want to change it depending on the champion you play, the role you play, or the team you play. So let's choose an AD carry here, Jinx for example, change summoner spells for fun. And as you can see here, runes and masteries, you can change the mastery page here. But also there is this pen or pencil button, and if you click it you can customize the masteries as you want. So you can change the page here again, but also you can say, okay, I want these talents, I want to spec into mana regen, I want to spec these talents and stuff like that. So you can still change them if you're in champion select, which is a huge bonus, which is not the case for runes. Anyway, let's just spec into these talents again and remember these masteries, because for example I'm getting 4 attack damage here. I'm also getting additional damage here and stuff like that, some bonus health, 36 bonus health here, and 2 health per 5 seconds. So just keep those in mind. Let's close this. We're loading into the game pretty soon, and I will show you the worth of these mastery points, so to say. You can see that they are worth quite a bit of money, just like the runes. Alright, I'm in game now, and I didn't use an empty rune page, so I also have some runes which buff my combat stats, but my attack damage, for example, as I showed you before, I'm getting 4 points of attack damage through 1 mastery point. So let's open the shop and look at the longsword. This gives 10 attack damage, and so 1 point of attack damage, just by using simple math, would be worth 36 gold. So I got 4 attack damage by spending a mastery point on this talent, so to say. So this means 4 times 36, it's 120, 144. So 4 attack damage is worth 144 golds. This is quite a lot actually. So also the masteries which reduce your damage from auto attacks, for example, or champion attacks, they are worth a lot of gold. Also, for example, that one mastery which gives me 2 health every 5 seconds can be compared to this item which gives 5 health every 5 seconds. So you can see that 2 health per 5 seconds is about 70 gold worth, which is another bonus, another buff to my combat stats, and this is extremely important, especially in the early game, but also some are extremely strong in the late game. For example, scaling attack damage gets stronger the longer the game goes, obviously. So you always have to keep this in mind if you play versus your enemy, especially if you're just starting the game at level 1 and you're playing against somebody who's level 10. He can spend more mastery points, he can have stronger attacks, stronger defenses, more utility, for free. And this is why high level champions with more mastery points are stronger than lower level champions. So be careful when spending your points, spend them wisely. You only have 30, you wanna always strengthen your strong points and work on your weak points. You wanna set them up correctly, maybe even according to your enemy champions. So this is why you need to know which masteries are good and which are not good for your role. Yeah, that's why there are so many rules, guides out there for champions, because they are dependent, or the masteries are mostly dependent on the champion and the role you're playing. I think that's it for the video. I hope you learned something today. I hope it's not too boring for the people who already play the game for a long time like me. But I just think that there are so many new people out there who don't know where to start. It's very complicated at first to get a grasp of the game, and I wanted to do a couple of videos. I already have these videos in German, so I wanted to make them, oopsie, in English. So that's that. So thanks for watching, hope you liked it, bye bye.